What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, giving you guys a quick market watch, letting you know what the heck is going on in the secondary market, seeing if we can save you guys a couple of bucks, or of course, even better, make you guys a couple of bucks. So I'm ready to start talking about Raging Tempest. The cards are on TCG Player. I believe that Raging Tempest is legal as of today. This is the first regional weekend. People seem to be super excited, and the secondary market is kind of booming. We've already seen some card fluctuations, and with the cards being on eBay and TCG Player, I feel like there's a lot of good, healthy competition. So I feel confident in, talking about the cards. But we're actually going to start with Invasion, Vengeance, and Dimensional Barrier, which has basically spiked to $84. It's super crazy because if you had a playset of D barriers and you went to sleep, basically in your sleep you made almost $40 for doing absolutely nothing. And if you're wondering, Cap, why did this card go up $13 overnight? Well, it's simple. Raging Tempest is legal as of right now, and people are rushing out to get them for their regionals. They're rushing out to get them for Seattle, YCS Seattle, and it's just expected to be an amazing card overall throughout the entire format. It's basically like one of the top 5 most played cards, along with like Maxi, Malmarat, and Barrage, the Zodiac Barrage card, in the entire OCG. And this is probably going to be the most played trap of the entire meta. It's not just that people are starting to shift Solemn Strike out of their main decks and replace those with the D barriers, but it's such an easy card to implement into decks that don't naturally run traps, or decks that just don't, they don't work traps that well into their deck. Decks like Fluffles and Lunar Lights, or I mean, shit, even the deck like Cubics, decks that don't really play defense all that well, but if they can stall their opponent out one turn, hopefully they can just kind of OTK him during the next turn. So yeah, Dimensional Barrier was about $71 last night, and it's $84 today. So yeah, if you had a play set, you basically made $39 in your sleep for doing absolutely nothing. I think that this is a card I've been talking about for a while, guys. I said that I think Dimensional Barrier is going to hit $100. I think that it could even go higher than that because there is only one print of this card. Obviously, it's pretty difficult to find Invasion Vengeance. It kind of reminds me a little bit of when Solemn Warning was first released all the way back in Duelist Revolution. The card at the sneak peek was only like $20, and then like 2 weeks later, everybody realized, holy shit, this is the best card in the entire set. It's better than Scrap Dragon. It's better than Pot of Duality. It's better than Effect Veiler, and it basically went to $100 for the ultras and $120 for the ultimate rares. And I don't know, man, I could totally see this happening. This card is so good against everything in the meta. Pot of Desires, this card just continues to plummet. I said maybe about 3 weeks ago, guys, if you have Desires, trade them straight up for D barriers. Find somebody at your locals, be like, yo, I got Pot of Desires and $10, let me get that D barrier. That would have been a perfectly fine trade. I would have taken that all day because I made the video saying is Pot of Desires a dead card walking in. I mean, yes, it will hold some value, but I honestly think that this card could even drop lower because, as I've said, I think that DDD is going to be pretty much like the only deck that is main decking this. I mean, I'm talking about like super high-end meta decks. I mean, yeah, there'll be some other low-tier decks that are running it, but you can see this card has done nothing but take a hit. The normal price was about $80 a couple of weeks ago, and you can't even get $60 for Pot of Desires anymore. So if you guys want Pot of Desires, I actually would hold off maybe like a week. I mean, just kind of wait for the first weekend of Zodiac Beast topping events, and they'll have all the spotlight, they'll have all the attention, and I think that people will panic. I think they'll start listing Pot of Desires at maybe even $50, and you'll be able to pick them up fairly cheap, fairly on the cheap, because again, I don't really think that many Zodiac players are going to be playing Pot of Desires. I think that it just kind of messes with the consistency of the deck. Like, why risk banishing like your barrages and like a lot of the other good cards in your deck? I don't know. I feel like this card is good. Definitely one of the best draw cards in the game. I don't think it's a very good time for Pot of Desires. This card, if it's like really good in a format, it could easily spike to $100, but as of right now, I just don't think it's a very good format for it. Okay, so Zodiac Barrage, this card I believe was about $60 during the sneak peek. It's gone up about $15. Yeah, the first listing prices on TCG Player actually have it at about $76, and this is one of the examples, guys, that you just have to remember cards don't always go down because of sneak peek prices. There have been numerous examples like Dante and Tour Guide from the Underworld, and just countless other cards that have actually gone up in price. And I heard that this is supposed to be the most difficult secret to pull out of the entire set. I think that might have to do something with it. But if Zodiac Beasts actually end up dominating like it's expected to, I don't know that they'll actually dominate as hard as people think. But if Zodiac Beasts actually dominate like YCS Seattle, this card could actually, scary enough, enough, go up even upwards of like $100, because we've just seen so many $100+ secrets throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Draco Sack, Spellbook of Judgment, Big Eye, just so many. Necroz of Briannic. There's been so many like $100 secrets. All right, so we want to look at some of the actual release prices of Raging Tempest, and there's 4 secrets that I think should stay above $30 right now. If you're opening boxes and you pull any of these cards, you're doing pretty well. That Grass Looks Greener, Broad Bull, or Trident. I think that Trident and Broad Bull's price are pretty much going to be comparable, because it's not just Zodiac variants that run these, but even decks like Lunar Lights and other decks that run Beast Warriors. A lot of these decks can go in the rank 4s, and they're just playing cards like Broad Bull because it surges their entire engines. Like if you're playing a deck like Boojins or Lunar Lights, you're probably playing Broad Bull because it searches everything in your entire archetype, and then it's just kind of natural for you to run at least 1 copy of Trident, because usually after you search with the Broad Bull, you overlay into the Trident so that you can either blow up a card immediately on your opponent's side of the field, or if you're going first, so that you have some type of defense. Now that Grass Looks Greener, I think this card is definitely worth $30. I don't think any deck in the game is going to run 1 copy of this, so this is pretty much a 3 or 0, and it just opens up so many countless deck possibilities as far as like deck building with like Skull Servants, and you can run like Minerva Lightsworns and run this. Infernoids is obvious. There's so many good decks that can run this. I think that this card will definitely hold its value because people need to run 3 of it. So I mean, there's not going to be a shortage of people who actually want the card. Foolish Burial Goods, this card's $13. I actually would hold off. Outside of Fluffle players, I don't know that any other deck like just absolutely needs Foolish Burial Goods. I think this card could definitely drop to about $10. I think you can save yourself $3. Fusion Enforcers isn't coming out for a couple of weeks anyway, so if you're looking to play Fluffles and you definitely want to pick up a couple of copies, I would just wait on this. Like if decks like DDDs and Zodiac Beasts are the meta, this is going to be a highly overlooked secret rare, and I think that's going to make the price drop. 1 card in Raging Tempest I would absolutely not touch. I know it's only $9. Full Force Virus. The reason that I say this is I compare this set a lot to Breaker of Shadows of last year, and I look at this $9 price tag, and I'm thinking that it compares a lot to a card like Twin Twister. When Twin Twister came out, it was about $9. Obviously, it went up to like $14 because everybody realized, holy crap, it's one of the best spell and trap card removal, or it's better one of the best spell and trap removal cards in the game. And it's like, can you really compare this to something like Twin Twister? I mean, yeah, it's not a perfect comparison, but I'm just looking at it from the price standpoint. I'm just thinking, if Twin Twister came out and it was about $9, this card is not going to be nearly as impactful on the meta, and I don't know that people are running multiple copies. Like even the few decks that are going to run Full Force Virus, are they really running multiples? Twin Twister was a card where everybody was main decking like either 1 copy, 2 copies. Like you were finding them in people's main and extra deck, or excuse me, main and side deck in freaking troves. Like they were running multiple copies. And then for the last couple of cards, we have Flying Sea. I didn't get a chance to talk about this ultra rare that's actually just gone up. Some of you guys might remember, if you go back a few months, this card was like $1. It's basically quadrupled in price. You can see it's trending upwards. It's because of Zodiac Beasts. Obviously, if you're going second and you don't have like Max C, this is just another hand trap that's like super good against them. Although it has been said multiple times, they can pop this with the Barrage. So they actually do have a very easy out. It's not like, a deck like Burning Abyss where they had to kind of jump through hoops and use things like Alec, or they had to try and like synchro with the Flying Sea or something like that. So I mean, there is a pretty significant out that Zodiac players do have against this, but if they don't have Barrage, oh yeah, you can definitely just like poop all over them if they normal summon a monster and you just Flying Sea them and they can't really do much. And then the last card I want to talk about is Artifact Sanctum. This card, it seems like it's a little bit of a roller coaster, but it's definitely back up. You see the Mega Pack editions are about $29 or $28, my bad, $28 up from a little under $26. And then if you're looking at the versions from Primal Origins, those are basically all sitting at $30. I know you see this one right here for $20, but it's a moderately played copy, so it basically can be all types of fucked up, and I'm not sure that I'd want to invest $21 in a copy of a card that's definitely going to be like have some damages and stuff like that. So this is up about $8. And I mean, everybody knows why the artifacts are going up. It's just because of the Win Witch Eidolon artifact deck, which it looks like it could be a much cheaper meta deck if you're looking to go that route. I mean, we obviously don't know how much the Invoked or the Eidolon cards are going to cost, but as of right now, the Win Witches don't seem to actually be that much. From what I've seen, they're about $7 each. Actually, no, I guess when you get the whole engine, that actually could add up. So you know what? Scratch that whole budget. Plus, you need a crystal wing, so I guess that pretty much kills that. But yeah, Artifact Sanctum is definitely going up because a lot of people are looking at Artifact Scythe. They're looking at this card as one that kind of, when you play it, it kind of prevents your opponent from like blindly going after your back row, playing things like Twin Twisters. So I think that the Artifact engine, if the Win Witch Eidolon artifact deck is successful, I think that cards like Sanctum are just going to hold their value because it's another card that people just have to play 3 of. Like a lot of these cards, guys, that you either play 3 or 0 of, I think that those are cards that definitely hold their value, like that Grasshook Screener, because people don't buy 1 copy of them. People don't buy 2 copies. They have to commit to it. They have to buy an entire play set of them. So let me know what you guys think. Was there something that I missed out on? As crazy as it sounds, with D-Barrier being almost $85, I still would probably, if you're going to play this game competitively, I'd still pick those up for that price, because I think that we're probably 1 weekend away from a whole bunch of people playing 3D barriers in their main or extra, or excuse me, main or side, and then the card hits $100, and it's just like, shit, that's $45 on a playset that I could have saved. So let me know what you guys think. If I missed anything, again, leave that in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already.